So I've been using the titanium iPhone 15 Pro since its release. During that time frame, I have developed a lot of thoughts about the overall experience of using it, but the question remains, is the iPhone 15 Pro worth it in 2025? Well, let's find out after this. What's going on, everyone? You're tuned in with Spectacular Tech. Right here we have the titanium iPhone 15 Pro. This phone came out in September 22nd of 2023. In addition, this phone released with 3 other models, the iPhone 15, 15 Plus, and the 15 Pro Max. But with the 15 Pro, it's for the person who wants the best iPhone in a smaller size than the largest Pro Max model. But anyway, let's go ahead and start this unboxing by pulling this box cover right up. Anything under it? Nope. I'll place it off to the side. And with the phone lying face down, I'll pick it up with this pull tab, and I got it in the titanium black colorway. But before we get to the phone, I'll put it down to the side for now and check out everything else in the box. And the first thing I noticed, Apple finally gave us a braided double-sided Type-C cable, ending the lightning cable with this generation. And now at the top, we have the paperwork. Apple foolishly got rid of the SIM card slot in the US, but I'm surprised the sticker isn't gone too. But I guess their motto is, if it isn't broken, let's remove it anyway. We'll sell our iPhones regardless. But let's close this box, which wraps up the unboxing. Now I'll go back and pick up the device. This is very lightweight in the hand. Now here's the part you've been waiting for. The satisfying peel-off. On one side, we got the action button and volume buttons. Then the power button and millimeter wave antenna on the other side. Then we have absolutely nothing on the top. Now finally, on the bottom, we got the loudspeaker, USB Type-C port, and a microphone. And after this quick spin showcasing the matte textured glass back, let's slowly focus in and take a look at these rear cameras. The specs. First, we have a main wide 48 megapixel camera that can pixel binge at 24 megapixels. Next up, we have an ultra wide camera that takes shots in 12 megapixels. And then finally, we have a telephoto camera that shoots in 12 megapixels with 3 times optical zoom. In addition to this microphone hole and LiDAR sensor that sometimes helps the camera. But not leaving out mentioning this camera flash at the top. With the camera performance, you definitely can rely on this phone to get a great shot. Usually when you're taking photos with enough light, the main 48 megapixel wide-angle camera will default to pixel bend those shots into great 24 megapixel images. But when there's not enough light, it'll go down even further from pixel bending from 24 to 12 megapixels to get the best result. This is still a very sharp picture, but I'll do a full camera test later on in this video. Now let's talk about the front. On the front screen of this iPhone, we're working with a 6.1 Super Retina XDR display. That also has ProMotion, which can run an adaptive 120Hz screen responsiveness. And if you want to know the screen protector I've been using, this is an Amfilm tempered glass. This screen protector is very affordable, comes in a pack of 3 with an installation kit. It's very smooth to the touch, like you're touching the actual screen, and I have a link to it in the description if you want to check it out. Now, other than the screen, let's talk about an important feature all the way at the top of this device. And that feature is FaceID. With FaceID, after it's set up, it works very fast and reliable. It only takes a second to scan your face, and then you can just swipe up to unlock your device. This feature works in all lighting conditions, even the dark, and despite scanning your face, someone else can't unlock your iPhone when your eyes are not open, so don't worry when you fall asleep around somebody. But also at the top, we have the ear speaker, other sensors, and a front camera that can take photos at 12 megapixels. And with this iPhone generation, they call this lone pill cutout the dynamic island, that can show useful information at times that you can sometimes interact with. But this cutout is definitely an improvement from the notch on previous generation iPhone models. But now, let's talk about the processor on this phone. It's running an Apple A17 Pro chip with 8GB of RAM. Now, the speed of this phone is very fast and responsive when scrolling around different pages of iOS. And with the 120Hz display of this phone, it makes the animations while scrolling just that more smoother. And you can see while I'm opening and closing these apps that were not previously open in RAM, this phone has not lagged even once. I mean, everything is as smooth as butter. Then with the 8GB of RAM, that's definitely more than enough to handle all your apps open in the background. But if this phone is that responsive, how does it perform when gaming? When it comes to gaming, you're still getting a pretty good experience. You have a 6.1 size screen that's nice and compact in your hand when playing, that can also run at a 120Hz, which makes everything smooth when playing some of the most graphically intensive games. Then on top of that, you see how well the game is performing with the A17 Pro chip without any lags or drops in frame rates. But playing a game this powerful like Asphalt Legend Unite, it will drain the battery faster than normal usage. So just keep that in mind, but for playing for long duration sessions of gaming, the phone will get warm but not overly hot. But other than gaming, how about when watching content? Well, truthfully, you get a pretty good experience on this 6.1 Super Retina XDR display. And with a hole punch cutout at the side of the display, it doesn't take away from the overall viewing experience. Then on top of that, some apps even allow you to change the quality to take advantage of a higher resolution. And also, the screen can get as bright as 1000 nits or 1600 nits when watching HDR content. In addition, the screen has a resolution of 1179 by 2556 pixels with a PPI of 461. Okay, the display is great, but enough with talking about the screen. How about we start a sound test? So let me click on the first one. The speaker seems pretty loud, but I'll click on it again. Okay, let's try the next one. Alright, let me try one more. It's definitely loud enough when you're receiving your phone calls and when playing music out loud. But enough with talking about the sound. What is my overall experience with the battery? So I'll first go into settings, scroll down the battery, then I'll look for it and click on charging optimization. And I've always had this iPhone set on the 80% limit to keep the battery health at 100% for all this time. Now the lifespan of a battery lasts longer when only being charged to 80%. In addition to this, I also use the shortcut app to micromanage my battery, so it can give me this notification every time my battery goes under 20%. And if I don't want it going under 20%, then I definitely don't want it going above 80% either with this other notification. Now this app is still useful, but it was more essential for older model iPhones that didn't have the battery charge limit feature. And here's another thing, but one thing for certain on this model iPhone and later, it starts the end of the lightning port. Because thank you to the European Union for passing a law forcing Apple to change to USB Type-C worldwide. Now I can finally throw this lightning cord out. Good riddance. Now on the 15 series, we have a new hardware addition, an action button that can be reprogrammed to what you want. I have my button programmed to launch the video camera with a long press. But to program it, you first go into settings, then you find action button and click on it. And this screen right here shows you all the button configurations. We first start on silent, then swipe over to focus, then swipe over again, we have camera, then next we have flashlight, and then with another swipe we'll have voice memo, and after that we'll have translate. Then up next we got magnifier, and after that we got shortcut, and the last one, accessibilities. And each option has a drop down menu where you can select a particular function in that app. So I'm going to set this one on video for the camera option to program the action button. Then press the action button to launch the video on the camera. So let's try something different, like scrolling over to the flashlight option, and then press the action button to turn on the flashlight. There are so many different useful things you can program this button to do, it just depends on your preference. But how about software? So let's go into settings, then general, then software update, and then wait for it to check for the latest software update, and I can see that it's currently downloading iOS 18.1.1. So let me wait for it to finish downloading. It's preparing the update, and now it's installing the update. This shouldn't take long. And now that it's done installing the software, it shows a hello welcome screen. And I can now swipe up to see what software version I'm on, and I am on iOS 18.1.1. Now let me go back into settings, then general and software update just to make sure I don't have any further software updates. And I am currently up to date with the latest software, but what kind of features come with this version of iOS? Well, on the Pro models of the iPhone 15 series and later, these are the iPhones that will support Apple Intelligence. I gotta join the waiting list for now. And with Apple Intelligence, this will be Apple's version of ChatGPT or Google Gemini to add new AI software features. But let's talk about other software features that are available right now. Like, for example, I notice every time you press any of the physical buttons on the phone, you get these little indentations on the side of the display. In addition to that, they finally add this much needed feature, which is the ability to move apps freely to any blank space on the screen. Then on top of that, if you got that one person that you know is going to go throughout your phone, you can finally lock your apps with FaceID. So whatever you're hiding in your phone, that person will never know unless you're the one looking at the phone before you open the app. Then we have an entirely different look to the control center with so many different screens that you can customize. Apple really put everything in this update, and it can even do this dark mode feature right here, which doesn't only change the app background to dark but makes the apps dark too. And of course we can't get dark apps without dark notifications to go with it. Even the wallpaper has a slightly darker tint to it as well. And back with the control center, you can edit anything just to get the way you want it. I'm not going to change anything on the control center, but I'm just going to put this back in light mode for now. But enough with the software, let's take things outside and start the camera test. On this iPhone, we're working with 3 rear cameras, wide, ultra wide, and telephoto. But let's start first with the main 48 megapixel wide angle. So let me snap the photo and go to the gallery to check the result. In this shot, I can see that they got the entire bush in focus along with the mulch and pavement under it, but I can see that the sky is slightly more overexposed. So let's do another one and take a shot of this red bush. I'll snap the photo and go to the gallery to check the result. Now in this shot, I can see that not just one, but it got every one of these bushes in focus and still the mulch under them. Okay, let's try 2x, but still keeping it on the main wide angle camera. And get a close-up shot of this bush. I'll snap the photo and go to the gallery to check the result. Now I can see in this shot, every single leaf on this bush is in focus along with the mulch again. I don't have any complaints with this shot. So let's switch over to the 3x telephoto camera and get a close-up shot of this parking lot light. I really gotta hold the camera steady before taking this shot. But anyway, let's go to the gallery to check what we got for the camera result. I can see in this photo, the pole is mostly in focus, but starts to get a little bit noisier at the top. Okay, let's try switching over to the 5x ultra wide camera and getting a shot of these 3 bushes. I'll now snap the photo and go to the gallery to check the camera result. I can see in this shot that the bushes are mostly in focus, but there is a little bit of noise this time with some of the mulch. But I'm gonna switch it back to 1x on the main wide angle camera and get a shot of this tree. Hold the camera steady and go to the gallery to check the result. And I can say in this shot that all the leaves and the trunk of the tree with the mulch came out in focus. But let me check the resolution I took this photo in. And it took it in 24 megapixels instead of 12 megapixels on other phones. But the resolution can go even higher, so let me go into settings and turn on ProRAW and make sure ProRAW Max is selected. I'm choosing this setting over the Heat Max. Now back to the camera, you know the option is turned on when you see it up in the top corner. Now let's see if we can get a better photo now shooting at the full resolution on the wide angle camera. After taking the photo, let's go to the gallery to check the result. And I can see from first glance, it looks about the same until you zoom in to see more areas of detail on the tree trunk and leaves. But let's double check the resolution. This was taken in 48 megapixels. But now let's switch over to the 3x telephoto camera and get a shot of this Best Buy sign. And I'll go in a little bit further at 6x to get a close-up shot of this sign. Taking the photo, now let's go to the gallery to check the result. And I can see in this photo, everything is in focus. The edges on the building, the words on the sign, and even the tree off to the side. But let's switch over to the 0.5 ultra wide camera and get a shot of all 6 of these bushes. Taking the photo and going to the gallery to check the result. And I can see in this photo that mainly the bushes in the foreground are in focus rather than the ones in the back. But also the ultra wide camera can only take photos in 12 megapixels. Let's go back over to the 3x telephoto camera and zoom in a little bit further to like 8.5x to get a good shot of this Ross sign. I'll take the photo and go to the gallery to check the result. And I can see in this photo that the words and roof on the building are in focus, but it starts to lose detail around the windows. But I'm going to take it back to 1x on the wide angle camera and get a shot of this bush. But let's see what we got for the result. In this shot, the entire bush, the mulch, and road are all in focus. But anyway, if you're enjoying the content, a sub to the channel will be highly appreciated to keep me producing phone reviews. Now back to the video. Taking the shot at 2x on the wide angle camera, and now with the result, I can see that the words and edges of the sign are in focus. But let's keep it at 2x on the wide angle camera and get a shot of this tall tree off in the distance. Holding the camera steady and taking the shot, now let's see what we got for the result. And I can see in this shot that it came out a little darker, but mainly the tree trunk came out in focus, but not so much with the tree leaves. Okay, I'm going to switch back over to the 3x telephoto camera and this time get a shot of this water tower in the distance. So I'm going to keep zooming in to the maximum at 15x, well 14.9x is good enough, and take the shot. Now let's see what we got for the camera result. And I can see in this photo that the words are readable, but it loses detail around the edges of the tower and the building under it. But keeping it on 3x on the telephoto camera, I'm going to get a shot of the street light. So let me switch over, hold the camera steady, and take the shot. And now let's see what we got for the camera result. I can see in this photo that the sky is shown accurately with the street lights in focus, but I'll check for lens flare with different lights at night. So let's go over to 2x on the main wide angle camera and get a shot of this fire hydrant. Taking the photo and going to the gallery to check the result. And I can see in this photo the red color is very saturated in this shot, but there are a lot of details with the paint peeling and the moat surrounding the fire hydrant. So let's switch over to 3x on the telephoto camera and get a shot of this Chick-fil-A sign. And this time I'll go even further, all the way to the maximum at 15x. I'll take the shot and go to the gallery to check the result. And I can see in this photo that the edges of the building look fine, but the Chick-fil-A sign came out completely noisy in this shot. But keeping it at the same 3x telephoto camera, let's get a shot of this flag off in the distance. And just like I did before, I'm going all the way to the maximum at 15x, taking the shot, and let's see what we got for the result. And I can see in this photo that the flag, the street light pole, and tree leaves are all noisy in this shot. Okay, let's switch back over to the ultra wide camera and take a shot of these two trees side by side. Take the photo and go to the gallery to check the result. And I can see in this photo that both of the trees came out in focus along with the foreground of the parking lot, but not the building in the background. But how about we switch to 3x on the telephoto camera and get a shot of the Noodles and Company building this time. Hold the camera steady and take the shot. Now let's see what we got for the result. And I can see in this shot that the entire building, the logo, the bushes, the sky, and the road all came out in focus. But let's switch back over to the main camera at 1x and take a shot of this stop sign at the full resolution. After taking the photo, let's see what result we got in the gallery. And in this photo, the stop sign is nicely in focus and the photo was taken in ProRAW at 48 megapixels. But I'm going to turn off ProRAW Max and retake the photo again. And using that same main camera at 1x, I'll get another shot of this stop sign. Now let's see the camera result in the gallery. And I can see that there was a slight bit of more detail on the stop sign in the previous photo, but this one taken in 24 megapixels doesn't look too bad. Now on this front camera, it can take photos in 12 megapixels and can record at a maximum resolution of 4K 60 frames per second. In addition to the ability to zoom out slightly in the camera's line of sight, with also the option of taking photos in ProRAW as well. But anyway, let's record some video at 4K 60 frames per second, starting with the main wide angle camera at 1x. And let me start off mentioning with iOS 18, Apple finally added the ability to pause and start video recording again. It took y'all over 10 years to add this feature. Then on top of that, you got the ability to normally take snapshot photos while recording without stopping the video. But a feature that we're missing now is the ability to record on the front camera and the rear cameras all at the same time. And when video recording, you can switch between cameras, like going from the 1x wide to the 0.5 ultra wide, then back to the main camera at 1x wide, then now at 2x wide, and then finally switching to 3x on the telephoto camera. Let me go ahead and end this video recording. In addition to that, you can also record in HD 30 frames, HD 60 frames, 4K 60 frames, 4K 24 frames, and 4K at 30 frames per second. While other options include swiping over from video to cinematic, then swiping again for slow-mo, then one more swipe, time-lapse. Then I'll swipe back over past the different camera options I just mentioned. Now after video, we have photo. After that, swiping over, we have portrait. Then swiping again, we have spatial. And with a final swipe, we have panel. But let's check out night mode since we're on the topic of camera features. And I'm going to start with the main camera at 1x and take the shot. Now let's see what result we got in the gallery. I can see in this photo that it definitely brightened things up in this shot with the foreground of the parking lot and both of the trees in focus. But this time, let's switch to 2x on the wide angle camera and get a shot of this bush. So I'll go ahead and hold the camera steady and take the shot, and since it's low light, it'll take a couple seconds to process this one. After it's done processing, let's see what we got for the camera result. And I can see in this shot that the bush is in focus with the lighting in the front, but my camera makes it look completely overexposed. But let's try a different shot like 3x on telephoto camera and get a shot of the stop sign. I'll hold the camera steady and take the shot. It'll take about 3 seconds for this photo. And after it's done processing, let's see what we got for the camera result in the gallery. And I can see in this shot that the stop sign is partially in focus on the letters, but I can see it losing some details around the edges of the sign and the pole. And since I'm right up close to both of these trees, I'm going to switch to 0.5 on the ultra wide camera. I'll hold the camera steady and take the shot, and since it was enough light, it instantly took this one. But with the result, I can see in the photo that the foreground of the parking lot did come out in focus, but both of the trees did come out noisy, especially on the leaves. But let's switch to 3x on the telephoto camera and get a shot of this illuminated Chili's logo. So let me position the camera at the subject and take the shot. Now let's see what we have for the result. And I can see in this photo that the glowing logo came out in focus with details on the building and light bar at the top. But I'm going to switch to 3x on the telephoto camera to get a shot of this Target logo on this building. So I'm going to zoom in even further all the way to about 9.7x, holding the camera steady and taking the shot. But let's see what we got for the camera result. And I can see in this photo that the Target logo and tree leaves on the side came out completely noisy in this shot. But I'm going to keep it at that same 3x telephoto camera to get a shot of this billboard off in the distance. So like I did before, I'm going to zoom in and keep on zooming in even further all the way to about 12.1x while holding the camera steady and taking the shot. And it's looking like this billboard is going to be completely blown out, but let's see what the camera result. And now I can see in this photo that despite my camera making it look all white, it did actually capture the red color of the sign and numbers, but it still is a noisy image. And keeping it the same 3x telephoto camera, let's get a shot of this illuminated street light. So the real question is, will we have lens flare in this shot? And it's looking like that's going to be the possibility after this shot is done processing. Letting it finalize, and let's see what we got for the camera result. I bet you there's lens flare. And in this photo, I'm absolutely correct. There's definitely that lens flare with the silhouette of the parking lot light reflected in the camera lens. And still keeping it at the same 3x telephoto camera for one more time, I'm going to get another shot of this water tower from earlier in the day. So I'm going to zoom in to about 9x and take the shot, and let's see what we got for the result. And in this photo from earlier, the words are readable, but still the whole image is completely noisy on the water tower and the tree leaves. But this time, let's go to 1x on the main camera and get a shot of this tree. So I'm going to hold the camera steady and take the shot. Now let's see what we got for the result. And I can see in this photo that the tree trunk and the grass came out in focus, but most of the leaves came out completely noisy in this image. So I'm going to switch over to the 0.5 ultra wide camera and get a shot of this entire McDonald's building. Let me take this shot and let's see what we got for the result. And I can see in this image that it looks decent until you zoom in to see most of this building came out completely noisy in this shot. So this time I'm going to switch to 2x on the main wide angle camera to get a shot of this bush completely in the dark. Taking the image, letting it process for a few seconds, and let's see what we got for the camera result. And I can see in this photo that despite not having much light, it actually got the entire bush, rocks, and bricks under it in focus. So I'm going to switch back over to the 0.5 ultra wide camera and get a shot of all these tables under this light. And after taking the photo, let's see what we got for the camera result. And I can see in this photo, it's a decent shot. Most of the tables in the foreground are in focus while the ones in the back start to lose a bit of detail. But I'm going to switch over to the 3x telephoto camera to get a shot of this McDonald's sign. But the real question, will I be able to see the words being illuminated under the sign? But let's see the result. And I can see in this photo that the McDonald's sign came out in focus, but the words on the white sign are actually readable despite looking blown out. So I'm going to switch over to the 0.5 ultra wide camera and get a shot of this gas station across the street. And after taking the photo, let's see what we have for the result. And I can see in this photo that nothing other than the sidewalk came out in focus while the gas station and all of its lights look blown out. But let me switch over to the 3x telephoto camera to see if I get lens flare shooting directly at this street light. And I'm going to take the photo and let's see what we got for the result. Will it be lens flare? And nope, surprisingly it's not present in this photo despite how close I was to this street light. And keeping at the same 3x telephoto camera, I'm going to go even further to about 5.9x to get a shot of this trash can. And after taking the shot, let's see what we have for the camera result. And I can see in this photo that the trash can, bushes, grass, and pavement came out completely noisy. But I'm going to switch back to the main camera at 1x and get a shot of this tree off in the distance. And after taking the shot, let's see what we have for the camera result. And I can see in this photo, it's excellent. The road, the tree truck, and most of the leaves near the bottom came out in focus. Okay, let me switch over to the telephoto camera at 3x to get a shot of this billboard off in the distance. So I'm going to zoom in to about 7.6x and take the shot. And it instantly took it, and let's see what we have for the camera result. And I can see in this photo that it did manage to get the Circle K logo and numbers in focus, but everything else around the billboard is noisy. Okay, last I'm going to record some video starting with the main wide angle camera at 1x. And I kept it at 4K 60 frames per second like I did when it was daytime. And just like before, you can switch cameras like going to the ultra wide, then going to the 2x wide on the main camera, then switching to 3x on the telephoto camera, and then last going back to the main wide angle camera at 1x. But that's enough with this camera. Let me stop this video recording. But enough with this day and night camera test. Let's take it back inside so I can talk about some of these accessories. And I have already shown the EM tempered glass screen protector earlier in this video, but the case I've been using is an OtterBox Symmetry case. Now this case is very slim and is made of hard rugged plastic with rubber around all sides. And the version of this case I have does support MagSafe, but this case is very easy to install as it just snaps right on the phone. It will give good drop protection, and then plus it has perfect cutouts that align perfectly with the phone. Then a rubber lip to protect the front from face drops. But I highly recommend you get a case since this phone is made up of glass on the front and back, since glass is glass and glass will break. Now the last topic, cellular connectivity. Let me eject the SIM card. Nope, can't do this on United States models no more. Everybody else in the world, just wait for Apple to do this in your country. In the US, we have no choice but to activate it on eSIM, which is the digital built-in SIM card that can't be removed. But I have this phone activated on the Verizon network, and I'm going to do a cellular speed test. But first, I gotta make sure Wi-Fi is turned off, so let me go ahead and turn that off. And the first website I'm gonna start with is Google. Letting it load, it took a couple seconds. Now I'm gonna try the Apple website next. Let's see, it came up pretty quickly. And last, I'm going to the Amazon website. And letting the site load up, it came up fast as well. In addition to that, you can also go under cellular and control how you would like to use your 5G. Like having it on 5G auto, 5G always on, or setting it on LTE. And then if you want to add an eSIM, you can either transfer it from another iPhone or do it remotely through your cell phone carrier. So this phone is loaded with all the necessary hardware for you to get the best network performance on either 4G or 5G when you live in rural or city areas. And a side note, this phone can even connect to satellites when service is unavailable. But anyway, let me go ahead and wrap this video up and answer the question I asked at the beginning of this video. And that question was, is the iPhone 15 Pro worth it in 2025? Absolutely. You get exceptional cameras, great battery life, fastest performance with years of software support, and a nice, comfortable, compact sized phone. The 15 Pro is worth it. Well, there you have it. Here's another video you may be interested in up in this corner. But for now, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell, and I'll catch you all on the next one on Spectacular Tech.